So, how are you liking RTX so far?
I was good. I just got here and I saw the line like out the door. So this is crazy. This year's just grows every single year. It's nuts.
Is this your first?
This is we actually keynoted the first one. We actually keynoted the first one, and since then just been steadily downgraded. I think by this time next year we'll probably be hall monitors. We'll probably be in that sort of range. Yeah.
Well, like they said that it's such a huge turnout, 30,000 people. It tripled since last year.
Really?
Yeah.
It's 30K this year? Oh man, that's a lot of people.
Speaking about a huge turnout, your Indiegogo for VGHS Season 3,
Yeah.
900,000, I believe, was the last calculation.
Yeah. And obviously it gets mixed up, and part of it goes into just fulfilling and all the rewards and stuff. But yeah, although we can't touch what's going on with Laser Team right now with the Rooster Team guys.
Oh my goodness, that is crazy.
But yeah, no, it was good. It was a good campaign, and we're really excited about the rewards that we're offering, and we're actually working on fulfilling and getting all that stuff together right now even.
Well, it seems like a lot of people are actually excited for the final season of Video Game High School. What should people expect? Because you guys are trying to go out with a bang, right?
Yeah, I think so definitely what we've been saying is like technically, sort of spiritually, the show kind of takes place over the course of high school. So now this is being the final season, and it would be a lot like sort of senior high school. So we're dealing with a lot of stuff that we're dealing with teen drinking and sex and like all these. It's definitely getting a lot sort of more mature in terms of the themes, while still kind of keeping it lighthearted, but. It's definitely scale-wise the biggest season that we've ever done. We've done more car stunts and more sort of like just sort of high-level, sort of high production value type of stuff than any other season, and also it's the most complex in terms of a storytelling standpoint because we really sort of delve into some really interesting stuff with all the characters. So I think bigger, better, and more of everything is kind of a way to sum it up.
Well, you're talking about storytelling. Last season, you kind of ended it on a little tragic note of Ted leaving. Yeah. So, I mean, we will definitely see Ted, right?
You're definitely that we're gonna talk about it, but also we're not gonna do that lame thing where it's like cliffhanger and then like okay the cliffhanger is resolved right away. It's like no. There's implications. So I would say you would treat season 2 and 3 as if it was one long season with a big break in the middle of it. It's definitely a continuation. So third season is definitely a direct continuation, picking up right where the second season left off.
So, we were talking about Ted. What is it like having Jimmy as your son and not your brother?
It's funny because we sort of have very limited interactions in that regard. Because I think it was a joke that we played in the first season, and then it's like kind of more of a story thing sort of later on. But no, it's fun. It's fun having my brother on set as an actor because I can also compare to pretty much anyone else. I can be very direct with him in terms of how I talk to him, and we have that we have that rapport from years of living together and fighting each other. So it's actually the easiest sort of acting kind of like direction that I've done, just because I can be just straight direct with him and he gets exactly what I'm looking for right away, which is nice.
Yeah, so you were talking about working with other actors. We actually saw Bernie Burns as well. It was like the school board president.
So Bernie had a little cameo. I actually literally shot it last time we were here as the board of VGHS, which I thought was a kind of fun sort of symbolic gesture too, because we very much look up to these guys over here at Rooster Teeth as definitely pioneers and definitely sort of OGs of sort of internet videos and sort of how they do things. So it's kind of fun to kind of give them a little nod in our second season.
So I actually saw internet kind of debate going on of Field of Fire. What video game is that based off? A lot of people say Battlefield 3, then Arma, and then we have people saying Call of Duty, which I mean I don't even know if that's a real comparison.
The answer to that is that it's an amalgamation of pretty much all of those. There's definitely elements from everything. It's got the hyper realism side of say Arma and like. And it also has sort of the team-based objective stuff, and we actually do some more of game types that we show this season as well that aren't in like Arma, but like it's a little bit of everything. And the point was to kind of just show. The point of it was to kind of just have this be the sort of kind of truthful amalgamation of all of our sort of experiences and everything from like the sort of arcadey, even sort of Counter-Strike style. Not Counter-Strike isn't arcadey, but sort of less realistic Counter-Strike all the way up to the sort of realistic stuff that you see in like Arma and things like that. And we're actually really excited because we're going to be just like successive releases of like Battlefield or first-person shooters. We're going to be doing more more vehicle stuff this time around, which is funny because we almost kind of follow the development path of these games, you know.
Exactly. Like we saw last season, we saw four-wheelers in that final tournament. We saw tanks and stuff.
Yeah, drivable vehicles. Big additional feature this year in VGHS Season 3, Field of Fire. Yeah.
Did that take like more time for like making the vehicles and stuff and getting it?
It's a mix.
Was it harder?
Well, it's a mix because some of the stuff like the tank in Season 2 was full CG because you just can't get a tank. You can't get, well, you can get a tank. You just can't get like a T90, like a very specific sort of look of a tank. But then here we go. There's a lot of like reenactors and World War II historians and stuff like that, and who have these vehicles like half tracks and things like that from various conflicts throughout the last century. So they end up generally being the guys that you go to, and they drive it themselves, and it's their vehicle. So we were able to get some more physical vehicles on set this year.
Well, we've seen like Brian D and Jumping Jacks. They're all like riding on the four-wheeler. So did you actually have to put that in after, or were they actually driving?
Actually, so it's a mix. So it's a mix of stunt people. Brian actually, Josh is like a true man's man. He's like a total outdoorsman. So he was been riding ATVs and stuff forever. So he had no problem. He was like, oh yeah, he was tearing donuts. That was perfect. It was a mix of like sort of movie stuff where we would put them on the process trailer, we put them on the back of a truck and have them like just have the handlebars and make it look like they were on it, and then mix it also with stunt people and everything. So it's like it's a range, but generally a lot of the actors are doing most of their own stunts, especially Josh.
You're talking about like driving and stuff, and then we saw actually Brian D and then Ted do the go-kart against. Yeah. So what was that like?
It was funny because that was just a day shoot out, basically in scorching hot desert. By the way, everybody had sunburns by the end of that, except the people in the full body suits. But yeah, it was a lot of fun because again, like I think Jimmy's pretty good, and Josh again is just great. So it was very. We would tell them like, okay, drive here, drift into this spot, and they were all able to hit it, and then we didn't have to get. Like, it was great because we didn't have to bother with like, oh, you need a stunt driver for a go-kart scene. It's like, nah, these guys got it, which is good.
That sounded like a really fun episode. So what was your favorite episode from season 2?
Oh, that has to be episode 5. Episode 5 in season 2, which is the whole Shotbot and love storyline. We were so excited for that episode because it's completely bananas, like just as a ridiculous episode. And we're like, I hope like it's weird, right? Because it's almost this weird like man robot male to male like romance, but everyone sells it so hard, and it was just the most fun episode to shoot while we were shooting it, and the most fun episode to edit.
The Law or Brian. Whenever you said you wanted him to be kind of this depressed weirdo, how did he react to that, or did he bring the idea of being a depressed weirdo?
In terms of the writing room, that was always that's where he sort of came up. The idea of this alpha male type who actually is just totally insecure, and that's 100% his characterization, his idea from the beginning. And he always thought that, and it was always much funnier because he can play that so well. He can play like just such bravado with that sort of underlying sort of like insecurity almost, and he was fantastic, and he was always advocating for ways to kind of like embarrass the law or make the law look gross and undercut. Yeah, it's the vomiting and the cereal and all that stuff. It's just like he was always kind of pushing for that, and it was always hilarious when he was doing it.
Well, we see actually from last season's trailer, you guys were doing 48 frames per second, but now that YouTube is supporting 60 frames per second and 4K display, will we be seeing anything like that?
Yes, you're going to see this season in 4K, and the same thing we did in season 2, split frame rate for the game sequences. So we're actually very excited that YouTube is able to support that, because now we're gonna show it off. We're gonna show off our stuff in the game sequences as 48, and the regular stuff as 24.
All right, and then will we be seeing you in Laser Team?
I don't know. I got to check with Bernie, see if they'll let me in there. I mean, I gave him a cameo, right? I feel like there's a tit for tat that you need. Yeah, maybe I could just streak across an episode, a scene of it or something.
All right. Well, one wrapping question. Someone was asking on Reddit for you. What are your 3 steps to world domination?
3 steps to world domination. Number 1, you got to amass a boatload of money. Need the money for it. That's the currency. The currency is the way the world works. Number 2, you need to control people's minds through propaganda. That's the film side of it. Or YouTube. Yeah, control people's minds. And then number 3, just good charitable work. Yeah, make sure you give back.
So what are you in, like step 2 right now?
We're at step 0.3.
All right, Freddie. Well, thanks for your time. I'm excited for season 3 and the final season of VGHS.
Thank you.
So thanks. Have a great day.